Okay, welcome to Ninja Monkey. As you can see, I'm not in my house, but I still wanted to stream. Obviously, I do really enjoy streaming. It's Sunday, and I know that some of you look forward to it. And the reason why I'm not in my house, and obviously I'm here in a portable, basically a portable, my laptop, portable device. The reason why is because of this thing over here. Let me just show you. She is a reason why I'm not at home. So, yeah. Welcome to Ninja Monkey. I hope you can excuse the fact that I'm not at home. I'm here at my parents' staying the night. This little thing here, this cat, needs some medication. And she's, I think, nearly 16, 17 years old, and it will just be too traumatic to move her away from her home, so it's just easier for me to come here. Anyway, now that I've sort of cleared that up, I hope everyone's having a happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. I hope everything is okay. And wait a minute, we have like a double chat, don't we? Wait a minute, what's going on? Oh, that's better. I think I fixed it. So, today we're going to... Hello? Oh, she's just stretching here. Today we are going to be discussing my latest video, because I think it's a great topic to discuss, to talk about, and that is how different is Japan, how special is Japan, what things have we noticed on our travels to Japan, on our trips to Japan, if that makes any sense. So gonna go through the list, gonna talk about it, but before we do that, let's just check out the chat. Sister Bliss is happy to be here. Yay, can't wait. Rez says, well, it started. Caroline, nice to see you. Hello from the pool, Vicente, from the pool. You've been having great weather in the UK, haven't you? I've been watching, following. Welcome back, thank you. 16 days to Japan, Vicente. What? Seriously? From LA. Awesome, Vicente. Hope you're well, my friend. I am. Did anyone get up to anything interesting recently? Not really. That video that I was editing took me forever, like a lot longer than I expected, to be honest. And it's not doing as well as it's just one of those things. Sometimes you pour your heart and soul into a video, and then it doesn't perform as well as you hope it would. But let's see what happens in the next few hours. Maybe I need to tweak the title a little bit to make it a little bit more clickbaity. I don't know. Hey, Paolo from Switzerland. Thanks for being here. Kit Kat is here also from Iowa. And Rez says, hey, Nathan. Hey, Rez. Joshua, hello from Toronto. My goodness, it's like a proper international, international community. Flipping heck. What? And we have a super chat from Vicente. Thank you very much. I heard that wearing sandals is rude in Japan. Is that true? Planning for the summer. I wouldn't say it's rude as such. I would say that I wear sandals. I do usually carry two, sort of like footwear. One of them being sandals for when I'm doing my day souvenir, sort of like day trip, sort of like touristy, going to the site sort of thing. And the other thing that I wear is some easy, no lace slip-on shoes, which I think are crucial. Don't take anything with laces unless they're loose and you can take them off easily. Thank you very much, amigo friend, for the super chat. But yeah, basically, I have heard that flip-flops are not seen as very, not commonly used in Japan. But sandals, I think you'll be okay, depending obviously on the type of activity that you're going to be doing. Ultimately, you are a tourist and you will get away with a lot because you are a tourist. That's what it comes down to be honest. That's literally what it comes down to. Good evening, Japan Ichiban is in the house. Japan Ichiban. I did a little bit of a homage to Japan Ichiban with my bandana at the start of my of my video. Meow, Sister Bliss. Meow indeed. Hey people, hey peeps. What's her name? Oh, maybe I should. I don't want to attach her to my. She's quite settled. But let me show you. Right, there we go. This is Sunny. Sunny or Sun. We call her Sunny. And Sunny is 16, 17 years old, and she's got some I think kidney problems. So I need to give her medication every evening. And she's very loving and very vocal. She loves to talk. And she loves being quite independent, but she's such a lovely cat. Look at her. This is like ASMR. Become ASMR. She loves it. And now she'll probably get up and go. Alright. Let's put this up a bit. Alright. Japan facts are interesting. Thanks, Jim. I've done 100 shorts, but I can only upload 10 a day. Expect more. Cool. Just finished that video. Never had issues with the crows, but beware of crows. Sign is all over. I can tell you something. Crows it really surprised me. We're gonna go over all the points one by one, and we can sort of discuss as we go along. But on the point of the crows really surprised me. It was something that I was absolutely not aware even existed in Tokyo. Coming from Gibraltar, which is a seaside, pretty much nearly an island, we have lots of really quite big seagulls that are a nuisance, and monkeys that are a nuisance. But crows, we don't really have crows here. So that was the first for me. Hey Lani, how are you doing? Thank you very much for being here. And Philip is in Shinagawa. How's Shinagawa? What are you doing up at this time? Ah, cool. Steve-O. Hey, Steve-O. And cool, we have loads of... I think we're going to start getting into it. I'm going through the messages very quickly. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Maurice, how are you doing? And awesome. Siamese love to talk. They do. And Joshua J... finally bit the bullet and booked my ticket for Japan in mid-August. Nice. I know it's not ideal in terms of weather, but tough to book a vacation any other time because of my job. Super excited. Joshua J, I say it many times. The fact of the matter, the best time to go to Japan is when you can go to Japan, unless it's Golden Week. Then don't go to Japan, or plan accordingly. I think that's going to become like a phrase of the channel, which I keep on repeating. It's like plan accordingly. Things can be out of your hands, but at the same time, things can very easily be, you can plan accordingly for things. Hey Lani, I have booked my trip to Japan in October for 6 weeks. Any good tips? Lots of good tips. I think October is going to be a great time to go. My tips are always start and end in a major city like Tokyo. Make it a Tokyo sandwich. Explore outside of Tokyo. Check out my 2-week itinerary and base some of your trip on that. I'm going to be traveling for 6 weeks, and just to give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing, starting in Tokyo, and then I'm traveling, coming back to Tokyo in the middle, then I'm traveling, and then coming to Tokyo at the end to end the trip. So yeah, your last video got me thinking about slip-ons and that aren't cowboy boots. That really made me laugh out loud when I read that. But need to be closed. Haven't found anything, or don't have my size. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna say something. Dying Gull walks around Japan with a kilt, so I don't see the problem with you walking around with cowboy boots. It'd be a interesting conversation starter for people, that's for sure. I want to go to Shizuoka. Looks like a cool place to ride motorcycles. Interesting, motorcycles. Pack mentally. They are intelligent, communicate with one another. They have long memories and keep grudges. Don't piss them off. The crows are insane. Absolutely insane. I agree. They are crazy. So, just gonna go through the list. There were 79 things in the list, and obviously now, since actually publishing the video, there's been even more things that have that have come into my mind. So maybe in the future there'll be a part 2. We'll see. But yeah, I think the first one, which just the list was made literally through sheer randomness. You know, I would just think of something and jot it down, think of something and jot it down, that kind of thing. I've been doing that for quite a while now. Probably started this a few months ago, started getting some kind of a list together, and then in the last 2 weeks sort of been more focused on thinking about those things. And I didn't really want input from people because these were my observations of things that I had noticed myself. And I'm also very aware that ultimately a lot of these things are cultural. For example, I know that grape flavor, which is one of the things that I mentioned, for me, as a European, the flavor grape is very prominent in Japan. The flavor of grape drinks are very popular in Japan. And I wouldn't say that grape drinks are really that popular in the West or in Europe anyway. And when we do have like grape flavor, it's usually a different type of flavor. It's usually tastes different, like a muscat grape maybe, but Japan tastes different. But I have drunk grape flavored things in the USA which taste very similar to Japan. So therefore that's an example of how culturally dependent on where you live, some of the things that I mentioned might have made sense and some of the things might not have made sense, if that makes any sense. If that makes sense. Hey Jim, thank you very much for the memberships. I will be updating the bar at the top. And just an apology to let me see, can I even, there we go, thank you very much Jim Ross. Just a little apology, I haven't got the Patreon banners because I'm running a much simpler setup than from my main machine at home. So please apologies for not having a shout out for the patrons up there, but I do super appreciate, thank you very much, I appreciate all my patrons that help me on the monthly. It really helps the channel out more than what you can imagine actually. Right, so the first one that I wanted to mention was this one, and that is that Japanese cuisine is diverse and goes beyond sushi. You know, the amount of people, and I don't know if you have the same issue, the amount of people that basically, you know, what's a sushi like in Japan? Or, oh, did you eat a lot of sushi in Japan? Oh, I'm sure you ate lots of sushi in Japan. And to be honest, sushi is probably the least thing that I eat when I'm in Japan. Yes, I will have sushi once, twice, maybe whilst I'm in the trip. And there'll be sides of seafood where I might have a little bit of sushi. Yeah, I eat a lot more meat than fish, that's for sure. I eat a lot more other foods than just sushi, and I wonder if anybody else has the same sort of you know, issue when they go to Japan. This one was quite a biggie, and that was that Japan is known as the land of the rising sun, because the sun rises and sets early. Now, I commented mainly on the summer times, and you know, like the sun rising at 4:30 in the morning is very real, and the sun setting before 7 a.m. in the summer is very, very real. So you could end up having some very, very short days if you leave like your hotel like at 10 or 11 in the day. Before you know it, it's your day it's gone, the daylight is gone. In fact, I think in the summer, when you leave your hotel, even if you leave like at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, you leave your hotel, it actually feels like it's the middle of the day because the sun has been up since 4:30 in the morning. Now, those times don't really, they do change in the winter. It's a little bit later, so it's not as bad in the winter, but in the summer specifically, it's super early, very, very early. Just out of curiosity, just for your information. And that one is probably quite an important one because it might affect the way that you plan your days. Let's see what people have to say. Lots of walking, lots of stairs. That is very true. And would I be able to purchase the JR pass before my visit in October? This is the question, I think the number one question at the moment from viewers is, if I purchase my JR pass before the increase, will I be able to use a JR pass? And at the moment, I cannot actually give you a real answer. And for those of you who have been following my channel for a while, you probably know that I'm quite, I like to be very fact-based, and I try not to, give any information that might be false or might give false hope. I did it throughout the 2 years of the pandemic, where I was able to maintain just a fact-based channel where it would basically be, I give you the information so you can make the decisions. And I honestly feel that at this moment in time, the information really isn't out there. There is no information. There is no one online or written or videos or other YouTuber that will be able to answer this question. And if they do, then please take that recommendation with a pinch of salt. Either way, you cannot buy JR passes until 3 months before. So it's still early. You still wouldn't be able to purchase a JR pass for October anyway. So as a date gets closer, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see. It'll be very interesting to see how they deal with that. That's for sure. Great flavor of the US, tastes like chemicals. Okay. Definitely lots of walking in Japan. I bought along insoles, which helped. Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, fruit flavor things in Japan actually taste like the fruit. Yeah, maybe that would have been a better way of phrasing it, actually. Not just grape, but you're right. It's not just grape. I would recommend getting it before October because there are some changes to the cost of the JR pass coming soon. Might be worth getting those reoccurring attractions quickly. This is what I'm talking about. We don't know. At the moment, you can't purchase it before October. It's got to be 3 months before, and the information isn't out there, to be honest. One thing that's very certain is that Japan is very fair and very well thought out. Whenever they do, most of the time, whenever they do things are very well thought out. So they'll have some kind of a plan, for sure. Melon soda in Japan, nice. Local SIM card or Wi-Fi, pocket Wi-Fi. Depending on what you do, they're both good options. Pocket Wi-Fi is good for sharing amongst the family and friends. Usually has better data if you're going to be a heavy user. But if you're just going to be doing some light browsing, checking maps and communicating via WhatsApp or Line or whatever, then a SIM is probably fine. Melon bread. Okay, let's see if there's anything. I think that's because the beautiful people are always talking about sushi, and it's a food for a couple of years. Yeah, sushi is, people just think of sushi when it comes to Japan, I think. All right, let's move on. I'm not going to put them on. I'm just going to say, yeah, meal times in Japan. That one is quite an important one, which is why it came to me at the very beginning. I traveled with some friends to Japan, and they wanted to keep to the meal times here, and I said to them, no, we need to reset. We need to, if you're in Japan, you need to reset your meal times. You cannot eat at 2 p.m, which is probably the norm here, eating at 2 p.m. for lunch, because by that time a lot of the lunch set menus will be gone. A lot of the other restaurants might be stopped serving to a certain point. So you do need to be careful when it comes to the times, especially at dinner time. I've been, especially in smaller cities and towns, I've been in situations before where I've had to eat from the konbini because it's been 10 p.m, 10:30 in the night, and I've tried to get something to eat, and the restaurants are no longer serving. In smaller towns and villages, the same, maybe by 9 p.m. they'll stop serving food. So just be aware that this is the thing in smaller places. Maybe in the bigger cities it's easier to find food, especially in the more busy areas of cities like Shinjuku. You'll be able to find food any time of the day pretty much. but just be aware and be careful, because it will catch you off guard, and before you know it, it will literally, you'll be eating from the konbini, which isn't a bad thing either, but maybe it's not what you want to do, not what you have planned. Fruit tastes like fruit, has the same energy as the snazberries taste like snazberries. Willy Wonka. Jet lag sucks, but it has its uses. Yeah, the daytime. Use your jet lag to your advantage, depending on where you're coming from. My only concern with upcoming trip is my brother has allergies to nuts, and I'm afraid of that communication barrier when it comes to eating out. Any advice there? Yeah, I think my advice is to make it very clear, write things out in cards. If you can get cards printed out to give, then in Japanese, then I would do that, and I would, when getting the food, I would then present the card again, that sort of thing. Luckily, I think it's not, if it was a seafood allergy, then it would be a different thing. With nuts, you can be a little bit more careful. Beef tongue and Kobe beef on a solo grill stall, yummy. How have people coped this long with long-haul flights in the past when preparing to arrive? You know what? I used to really think a lot about the long-haul flight and how I could actually cope with it, but ultimately I think that I just get on with it. Once you get onto the flight, what I try to do is I try to not rest until I've had the first meal, so I stay quite alert until I have the first meal. And then I have melatonin. Melatonin is a natural ingredient that helps you sleep, and that helps me sleep a little bit anyway. I'm using data SIM card on my phone this time. The advantage is that you do not need to mail back anything. Yes, that is a good advantage. Hey Ninja, I really enjoyed my trip, and I would love to go back to visit Kochi Prefecture again. Kochi is amazing. I love Kochi Castle. It's my favorite castle in Japan. I watched a supermarket video from Corey May. There are bento boxes also, and cheaper in the evening. Yeah, it's true. Not where I live. Took the Hollywood crowd, and now it's a bigger centre, even a couple thousand miles from oceans. Okay, I must have missed something. But anyway, don't know what's going on here. Okay, I don't understand. Right. So another one that's really useful is this one, and that is that Japanese bakeries are really amazing, and that the self-serving plating is very common when it comes to Japanese bakeries. Who here has been to a Japanese bakery, and who here hasn't been to a Japanese bakery? Because those are really great. A lot of the time, whenever I have a long haul, whenever I have a long train ride, like a Shinkansen ride, or I'm going on a long trip somewhere, I tend to not get ekibens. I tend to actually go to bakeries and get myself some random sausage rolls, or sometimes things like noodles in a bun, like those very typical Japanese things. The sweets are amazing too, melon pan, etc. So I do recommend. Japanese bakeries are definitely on another level. The newly designed public toilets in Shinjuku look great. Can't wait to use them. Cool. Japanese bakeries are the best. Combine two of your points and get some donuts. Yes. Japanese seriously, it's true, and it's cheap, and there are some Japanese bakeries that even do set lunch menus, or just set menus in general. You get yourself a coffee, get yourself some kind of a roll, and get yourself a sweet for 1,200 yen or whatever, So those are really great ways of eating relatively cheap, filling yourself up, because it will fill you up, definitely fill you up. Let me just check something here. So I'm looking forward to a Japanese bakery that I know is nearby to where I plan on staying. Sorry, Japan Ichiban, if the on-screen chat has frozen, I do apologize, but I am not on my main machine, So I'm not really, let me refresh it anyway, but I'm really not paying too much attention to the techie things, if that makes any sense. Well, the dollar is really good right now versus the yen. That is true. But yeah, Japanese bakeries, what I was saying, they're amazing. They are a really easy way. If you have kids, they're a great way to get, kids love anything with bread and doughy, right? So if you have kids, you'll be able to get stuff from a Japanese bakery. Also, they're really good places to go for on the go. If you want to eat something sat on in a park bench, a great option. If you're on the go, you can grab a few things, put it in your bag and eat on the go, although you're not supposed to eat when you're walking, but you know what I mean. I had some momiji from Hiroshima and it was really good. Nice. Can I use Revolut to pay for my hotels and services in Japan? I use Revolut all the time to pay for my hotels. I never had a problem. I've gazed for the windows, but it was always wrong time for grab, so never ate at bakeries as such. Okay. Bakeries, usually you can find them near stations. Ueno Station, they've just opened a new, in the last 2 years, they've opened quite a big bakery there. Hard to beat a good curry pan. That is so true. Japanese bakeries are at another level. Amazing pastries, soft and delicious breads. Amazing. Anyway, that's enough about Japanese bakeries. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that, and this is a real saver, and that is that whenever you go to a restaurant, there is such a thing as a lunch menu. Lunch menus typically are quite cheap, like 1,000, sometimes 1,000 yen, sometimes cheaper, around that sort of price point. You have a limited choice of menu items that you can eat, but you usually get sometimes a drink, miso soup, some kind of a meal with rice, all as part of the set. It will be very filling. It's usually very high quality, and it's definitely something that you should look out for. Sometimes you have different set menus at lunch. You have like the high-end set menu, the cheaper one, and the middle set menu. So by doing a little bit of browsing, you might be able to find something that suits you. And you can usually find these across all restaurants pretty much in Japan. I've just booked my first trip to Japan for the end of the year and I cannot wait. Cool. Amazing. I can't wait for you to experience it. A lot of salty options if you like salt. Can you hear that? That's I live next to a runway at Gibraltar, so that's some flight has just basically landed or taken off. What's your thoughts on driving in Japan? My first day driving there, I dealt with a bit of culture shock, but after a day of being there, I got used to drive there. Thank you very much, Keegan to Crow, because I'm planning on potentially driving for part of my trip this year in Tohoku. And there are a few spots I want to visit, a few shrines I want to visit that are a little bit off the beaten path, and I'm considering driving. Be doing that completely on my own, and reading that it was a little bit of a shock at the beginning, but that you got used to after a day really gives me hope. So thank you very much for that. Do you use a physical card or Revolut on your phone? The physical card, Rider, actually, they do have contactless, but you need to say, I can't remember what you have to say, but they do have it, but it's not as common as you think, as you might expect. Damn, can we talk about something other than food? This topic is making me hungry. I'm so sorry. Never uses Wise credit card, but I'm sure it works the same way. You thought it was a plane above you. Well, I'll tell you something. The runway is literally, I want to say, 300 meters away from me. So it's quite close. All right. The other thing that I did mention, and this one is quite important because I think a lot of people are caught out, and a little bit of planning ahead is certainly going to save you here. And that is that the Shinkansen, the bullet train, is awesome, but you do need to book in advance. During public holidays, the Shinkansen is going to be very, very busy. So having the ability to make a booking either by going to the booking window in the station or booking online if you have an online code thingy will really help you out. The JR Pass actually makes that super easy to do. You got free reservations, yeah, just that one's very important, I'd say, in general, you know. And then the typical things like morning commutes, like in Tokyo, are like extremely busy, so keep away from the morning commute. Don't make the mistake of, you know, trying to get to Haneda Airport at 8:30 in the morning with your luggage on public transport, because that's just going to be a little bit of a nightmare. You might be better off like getting a taxi to Shinagawa or whatever, for paying that little bit and then getting the monorail or whatever, because yeah. I'm not very sure about public holiday dates, but a quick Google search will certainly give you that answer. Is there any public holidays between the 2nd June and the 15th? I have no idea. Sorry. I don't even know the public holidays. There's a public holiday tomorrow where I live and I don't even know what it is. So how do you sleep with all those jets going up and down? Thankfully, this is probably the last one. Maybe there's one more before 11. Yeah, I was in Tokyo during Golden Week and it was peaked especially around Shibuya Station and Shinjuku. There you go. Nathan, when buying t-shirts in Japan, do you have to buy a size up? Like if you're a medium, buy a large, or is it okay for you? I usually have to buy, I'm a medium and I have to buy a large. So I always buy one size up, which was one of the points that I made, by the way. One of the points that I made in that video was that sizing is different. So if you are from the USA, then you might have to potentially get 2 sizes. Wait a minute. How does it work from the USA? In the USA, I will be a small. I don't know how it works, but check it out. Isn't she cute? Oh boy, it's hot. Hey Sunny. Yeah, I usually get one size up. Usually get a large, but even then, I'm quite lucky that my sizing is sort of quite okay for the extra size up. But I know that some people that when they go one size up, even that size doesn't really fit because it's sort of half sizes or whatever. Oh, tomorrow's Memorial. Okay, Memorial Day. Tokyo for Golden Week. How was that then? I will be in Kyoto then and already have my hotel. So the best to do on this day is to duck and cover, or maybe just roam around the city. Just roam around the city. You'll be fine. Japanese sizes don't seem to fit you. Yeah, this is the thing. Sometimes this is a problem. One size up works for you from the USA. Okay, cool. Gonna love the heat in June. We are cold here. It's close to winter now. Wow. How tall am I? I'm 177, 178. So 5'7", I think that is. I think. I am supposed to let them sleep, but it was just, I couldn't help myself. Was fine. I'm from New York City, so Golden Week in Tokyo was okay. I wear extra large in US and everything is short in Japan. I can imagine that being an issue for sure. I can imagine. Ooh, don't know why it's. So, some of the other things were morning commutes. Typhoon weather can cause potential delays. I've mentioned this before. I've actually been in various typhoons actually, and I've actually had to change my itinerary slightly. Leave at times where I know that the typhoon is potentially going to not affect my traveling, or leave a little bit earlier. I would say that the best thing to do the great thing is that Japan has amazing weather forecasting. They can predict typhoons very accurately. They can predict weather patterns very accurately. If you see that the typhoon that's going to hit you, don't worry, don't stress. The worst thing that happened to me was I went on a date once and I was meeting this girl and it was basically in the middle of a typhoon and I ended up completely drenched. People just people just mostly carry on, working and getting on with it really most of the time, unless it's like a really big one. But in terms of typhoons, yeah, if you know that the typhoon gonna hit, you can always go to the ticket office of the JR and you can ask them, hey, I want to go to Kyoto tomorrow. I've read that the typhoon gonna hit, and they will have their own predicted weather forecasts, and they'll be able to tell you, you need to leave before 9 in the morning because we expect that between 11 and 1 the trains won't be running. So just be aware of that. That one's a real important one. Oh, taller than you. Okay. Do tall people suffer? I'm not tall. I'm very average. I would say. Domo domo. It's been a while. I haven't used YouTube at all that much. Hey, how are you doing? Well, thanks for being here. You're 5'9". Okay, I'm 5'7", so I'm shorter. I'm currently 170. Oh, I'm 177. Not quite tall enough to be considered Godzilla among the Japanese people yet. You know what? I think Japanese people are not as short as people say or think that they are. I think they're about my average size. I wouldn't say that I'm taller than the average Japanese person. I haven't seen a link. I'm very sorry because YouTube won't allow you to post links. You can post it on the Discord. Typhoon season is usually July, end of July. Mostly, I would say it's August, going into September. Typhoon season. And typhoon season, maybe Japan will get 3 or 4 typhoons during that time. Yeah. Whoa, that's tall. That is tall. 202, what? OMG, EB the kid, you're gonna have fun in Japan. I need to figure out how to pre-book the Shinkansen before I travel, as I need to secure the luggage seats. If you get your JR pass online, then you'll be able to get your JR pass booking reservations online. And if not, very easy, you just go to the ticket office and they will help you. They're very, very helpful. Or when you actually go to exchange your JR voucher, you can usually help get them to reserve the first set of tickets for you. There's no bed on earth where my feet fit in bed. Well, I'm one of these weird people that always sleep with their legs out of the bed, and even if my legs fit in the bed, which usually they do, obviously because I'm not super tall, I always sleep with my legs out, so I know the feeling. 6'7", oh my god. It doesn't really bother me if I'm tall though, because it's what I was born with. And yeah, you're used to it, right? Young Japanese are quite tall, Ninja Monkey, yeah. Yeah, and then they shrink. I love sleep, and cold feet in the UK is annoying. Oh, I guess that cold feet in the UK. I guess the difference here is that because it's, Mediterranean weather, it's hot. It's usually quite warm. I usually regulate my body by poking my feet out of the bed. That's basically it. I was spend Christmas in Japan. Do people work on Christmas? Yeah, Christmas is usually a normal day. It's seen more like a Valentine's, like a couple-y sort of thing, where you can take a girl out or whatever on a date. So, hey Mark G, how you doing? Lots of comments. My friend had a typhoon app on his phone and we left Hirado early because it was supposed to hit that spot but ended up hitting China instead. I mean, yeah, it can happen obviously, but it's good to plan ahead. Oh, by the way, I got myself a Coke Zero from McDonald's because I'm staying with the cat. Hello. It's awake. Can you believe that McDonald's cash machine, they were only accepting cash. It was really annoying. Right, some of the other things that I mentioned was taxis, and somebody mentioned this and I was like, oh my god, it's true. That's a point I've forgotten about, and that is that taxis, they are actually quite expensive if you're traveling on your own solo. Obviously, if you're traveling with a family or in a group, then it might not be too bad. You might just be paying a little bit more than a train fare collectively. But taxis are really fancy in Japan. I'm talking about like, you know, they have some of the taxi drivers, they wear like white gloves, they wear a really nice uniform. They really take care of their taxis. They have like white lace on the seats. But one of the things that a viewer actually mentioned, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about this, and that is that taxis, they have self-opening doors. That would have been a really good observation to add to the video that I had forgotten about. But it's true. It was like, oh my god, it's true. Taxis, the doors open and close by themselves. So be careful, is what I'm going to say. We don't have frozen Cokes. No. They're different in Japan to the USA. But I did use more trains than taxi. Yeah. White gloves like Michael Jackson. Yeah, I guess so. In a weird way. That's why the girls told me if I was going to be there for Christmas. Ah, the girls. Now we know why you're going to Japan over Christmas. The truth comes out. So yeah, taxis. The escalator thing is quite common for, like I mentioned, it's very useful actually. People will sit on one side, will stand on one side, and they will basically walk on the other side. But it can be a little bit confusing because Osaka and Kyoto are completely different directions. I can't remember exactly what direction was which. I just copy the person in front of me usually. But yeah. And let me just update the. Sorry, I haven't updated the tab up there, but because this isn't my normal setup, I'm a little bit confused. So let's see if I can. I'm gonna try and do it if I can. Let's see. So I think it's been about that. Okay, updated. I was able to do it. Hey, Frog Lady, how are you doing? Frog Lady, I've got someone for you to meet. Hey, Sunny. It's sunny. I'm in my parents' home. Yeah, best thing to do is to copy the person in front. That's what I do. When we had to get a taxi from Hakone to get back to the hotel, we didn't want to walk. We paid around 600 yen for 3 kilometers. Wasn't too bad. But the automatic doors and well-maintained taxis were surprising. Yeah. Keep my fingers crossed for this because I will arrive on the 31st of October and it might work when I buy the voucher in August. Let's see. Yeah. Taxi here is like $20 for 3 kilometers. Wow. Wow. Oop. What was everyone's favorite thing to do in Japan? Me was baseball in Tokyo Dome and Skytree. Well, I'm gonna be doing baseball for the first. Well, not playing baseball, but the first time I'm gonna be doing baseball will be in August. I've never watched a baseball game in my life, so that will be quite interesting. Just to go through the list, there's low. Obviously, there's 79. So yeah, the melodies in the JR train stations are pretty cool. Luggage forwarding, I've spoken about many times. Shoes is a very common one, you know, taking off your shoes. Some people don't realize that you need to take off your shoes when you're actually going to like try on your clothes in a department store or like in a clothes shop. If you're going to try clothes on, then you need to take off your shoes, and some people get a little bit confused there, I'd say. Queuing obviously is common, and then this one is an interesting one, and I had to verify it with Dying Goal because I wasn't 100% sure. I mentioned that some topics like World War II and the imperial family are best avoided in casual conversation. The reason that I mentioned this was because the first time I went to Japan, it was 2014, so nearly 10 years ago, 10 years next year. And when I went the very first time, I actually went as part of the tour, and somebody asked me in the tour, you know, why did you come on the tour? Why have you come to Japan? And the reason why I went on that tour was because actually I was gonna go in 2011. Was it 2011? Yeah. In 2011 was the Tohoku, the Great Tohoku earthquake. No, right? I think. Yeah, the 2011 and the tsunami was in 2011, and I went in 2014. Now the fact is that I was originally planning on going to Japan around 2011, 2012, but then this earthquake and tsunami happened, and it put me off going to Japan. Basically, yeah, it just put me off. I was worried about the infrastructure, etc., etc. But obviously, by the time 2014 came round, things seemed to be more back to normal in a way. I'd been following, you know, the internet, etc., and I decided to go on a tour. So I was mentioning that just in conversation on a train, and somebody, actually my tour guide said, shh, you know, shh, don't talk about the earthquake and the tsunami, because it's a subject that isn't spoken about in Japan, because you never know, out of respect, you never know who sitting around you might have been affected by it, or who might have lost a family member, etc. In that occasion. So yeah, that was interesting. And he also said that don't speak about certain things like the imperial family, and you know, like to sort of speak about those things behind closed doors, not in public areas, and to be aware of these things. So that was kind of interesting, because I don't think there's anything taboo that we can not really speak about here. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that we don't really speak about. Note that, yeah. So that was an interesting one. Clothes shops, you take off your shoes only for the changing rooms. Only for the changing rooms, by the way. Yeah, political topics potentially. And in Taiwan also, obviously, I can imagine that. It's okay, World War II is a topic which us Germans don't want to talk about with strangers also. I get it. That's why I don't talk about politics, because you never know. Yeah, I didn't talk about World War II when visiting family in Germany. It's just disrespectful. My father's side lives in Germany. Okay. But just be aware that you need to be sensitive to certain topics. Topics that for you might be okay, and normal might be sensitive for the Japanese. So just be aware of that, okay? That one's an interesting one. Yeah, then I mentioned waiting at the green light for pedestrian crossings. 100%. You know the amount of times that I've been like wanting to get to my hotel. It's been nighttime, and I'm basically staying in a quiet area of Tokyo or whatever. There's no freaking traffic at all anywhere. No traffic, but the little red man, the light is red, so you can't cross, and the street is a small street. There's no traffic, but because there's literally like 2 or 3 other Japanese people next to me, I sort of respect it, and I wait for the light to turn green or blue or whatever the color is in Japan. That was another one. Some lights are a bit strange, the color, but yeah, that one's interesting. Hey Robert, how you doing? Everyone waits for the green light. 100%. Everyone waits for the green light, guys. Everyone. I need to give this cat medications at some point soon. Poor thing. So, other ones. Tipping, I've spoken about before. Drinking alcohol outdoors is legally permitted, and it's very common, actually. Not just, I mentioned like Hanami, Sakura, etc., but it's actually quite common in most occasions. The irashaimase, when you go into a like a shop, etc., is it can get a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of charming at the beginning, but then it can become a little bit annoying. I don't know. My auntie lives in Frankfurt and my rest of the family lives in Hanover. Okay. Also no jaywalking in Germany because of the kids. In the middle of the night I do it, but not with others around. Oh boy. Other things where oh yeah, calling out sumimasen. Took me ages to get that clip right with the background, removing the background, by the way. Oh boy. Yeah, dates in Japan. This one I think is important if you're coming from a European or from the UK, because in the UK and in Europe, basically, you have the date format is basically it starts off with the day. The month is in the middle and the year is at the end. But in Japan and in the States, the month comes first, the day is in the middle, and the year is at the end. So I once had a reservation done for the Pokemon Cafe, and it was like the 7th of August. I think it was the 7th of August or something like that. And the year, but obviously I thought it was the 7th of August, but actually it was the July the 8th, if that makes any sense. It was the wrong date. I was reading it wrong because the date format is different. So that one, just be aware. Just be aware of that, because that can really throw you off. Hey, thank you very much. We've got a PayPal here. I'm not very sure. Let's see. Got a tip. Who is it? I'm not very sure. Can you make yourself known if you have tipped? Because Zod TV. Thank you very much, Zod TV, for the tip. Let me see if I can add it. If I can add it. Arigatou gozaimasu. Updated it. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much. If I miss any sort of comments and they're important, please write it again. If I haven't read it, it's not because I'm ignoring it. It's probably because I just haven't seen it. Dying goal, being at the garden all day, knackered. Dangle, how you doing? I hope you're actually chilling because, dude, you are insane, I swear. Oh, and we've got also a gifted membership. Thank you very much, Japan Ichiban. Arigatou gozaimasu. Let's see if I can update that one also. I just do it randomly. I don't know how much it is, but there we go. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you. Learn the kanji for the man of the day, and it's pretty easy and can help if you're worried about dates. Yeah, that's probably a good advice there for sure. I was talking about you earlier on, Dying Gull, how I asked you about the taboo thing. Just been speaking about that a minute ago. Yeah, cutlery in general, you will not find cutlery like Western cutlery in many restaurants. So just be aware of that, okay? Practice your chopstick skills. What else? Wait lists spoken about in the yeah, water is often served. So when you do go to Japan and you go to a restaurant, they will automatically give you a glass of water. Now, that is not common in Europe, I would say. Anyway, in Spain, Portugal, even in the United Kingdom, isn't really that common. Some places might do it, but yeah, literally that is very common. And I know that in the States is a little bit more common, from when I went to the States. But yeah, that happens in Japan, basically. I spoke about plastic foods. Yeah, this one I wanted to point this out because once this can be a little bit confusing and it can actually give people the wrong impression, and that is that members only clubs and bars are not unfriendly to foreigners. I think that a lot of foreigners, occasionally, they think that a place isn't letting them in because they're foreigners. And I'm not saying that these places don't exist, because obviously they do exist. You know, there are many reported incidences of foreigners that have not been allowed in because they're foreigners. But I would say that 95% of the time, these are members only clubs that wouldn't let in even a Japanese person who isn't a member. And sometimes you can just get confused and think that it's a foreigner thing, but they're just members clubs, right? And so they only allow members in. Oh, you're going to Taiwan, nice. What is the horribly selling tea looking cold stuff that you get served at restaurants? I have seen it everywhere, but none of us like the taste of it. Is it actually fruit tea? What are you talking about? I mean, I have I have what's it called? Buckwheat tea, which I actually love, and I actually bring back with me every single time. The cold tea, it's probably buckwheat tea, and I absolutely love the stuff. Why YouTube? Why? I do have advertisements turned on, but it should be very random. It should only be like once every hour or something, and I don't control it. It happens automatically. If you're getting an advert, it's supporting me. Think of it like that. I spoke about tattoos. I mean, I'm not going to go into tattoos. We've spoken about tattoos a million times, but the tea-looking substance you get at Japanese restaurants, probably it's just tea then. Solo dining is common. We spoke about that. This one is quite interesting because ultimately, Japan is not a cheese consuming country, I would say. Japan doesn't really consume as much cheese as us in Europe anyway. Like, we live off the stuff. Like, I think I have cheese every single day, pretty much. So just be aware of that. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but just be aware of that. Yeah, omiyagis and souvenirs I mentioned also. And this was a little bit interesting because I think that you can go to pretty much any establishment, like any village, town, amusement park, and they'll probably even, like, you can go to the Pokemon cafe and they'll have like Pikachu biscuits. You know, they'll have some kind of food item in the theme of the town or the city that you are visiting, which can make for good visiting, good gifts to give. Ooh, that sounds like an interesting story. You have cheese right now, you see what I mean? Dairy on the whole is less common. My understanding is that Asians in general are lactose intolerant, some of them. Department stores in the basements are amazing. I do recommend, if you do have the chance, if you go to a department store, go to the basement. The basement is where all the amazing food and the incredible where you'll be able to buy like the really expensive fruit, and where you'll be able to get the really interesting cakes and desserts, and buy the really expensive things. It's really nice to go for a little browse, and sometimes they give you samples, by the way, so it's nice. It is very, very cool. I like it. The only thing I don't like is American soft drinks. Ooh. Yeah, in Hokkaido there's more dairy, although I wouldn't say it's like super popular. All you can eat yakitori versus yakiniku. Yakiniku always, I would say, for me personally. Hotel rooms are tiny. This one, I think, catches a lot of people by surprise, and that is this. There is Japanese pillows. They often contain buckwheat hulls. They're usually like, it feels like you are sleeping on a pillow of little beads. But in ryokans, you will get these pillows. There's no escaping it. You just get used to it. It's just one of those things. I don't mind them anymore, but I remember the very first time thinking, oh my god, how am I going to sleep? Now, even in some hotels, like even in Appa, you are given one pillow like that, and you're given one Western pillow. Anyway, in the Appas that I've stayed, so you get a choice. Has anybody here ever experienced the random, that sort of pillow? It's kind of different. It's kind of, let me know what you think. Hey, submitted my thesis in 4 days. Nico, all the best, man. 4 days, thanks for saying hello. Good luck, you got this 100%. The most fun I had was staying in a capsule hotel in Shinjuku. Cool. Japan has lots of additives that are not legal in other countries. Interesting. Yeah, I know that the United States has lots of additives and chemicals that are not legal in other countries too. I normally need 2 pillows. I need 3. Not a fan of the pillows. They feel like beanbags. That's it. They feel like beanbags. You're right. Frog Lady loves the pillows. I don't mind the pillows. I've just got used to them, to be honest. Andrew, hey Nathan. I met my friend Takashima in Ueno 2 months ago and took me to izakaya. I was about to help out with a tab. Came out and said, it's all on me tonight. I'm treating you. I wasn't expecting it. Wow, dude. Awesome. Well, lucky you. You got a good friend. Japanese people, they do like to show great hospitality. That is for sure. So Lumpy boys. I like that. Lumpy boys. I might adopt that from you. Lumpy boys. Just because it sounds rude, but it's so true. Oh boy. Buckwheat pillows are nice for me and my neck. I don't care about the size of my hotel room. I haven't traveled 8,000 miles to stay in the hotel that long. As long as it's clean, I'm happy. Yeah, I think for me it's about shower pressure. If I know that the hotel has great shower pressure, then I'll be happy. You know, a good shower will really like cleanse me and get me ready. Beanbag pillows. I sleep with no pillows. No pillows? What? Adachi, are you a human? How can you sleep with no pillows? What? Ah! My goodness. Hotel rooms are small, but it just depends on the hotel, really. Generally, they are small in Tokyo, I'd say. Spoke to him a few years. It's my first time meeting Takashima. Cool. Well, awesome, man. That's it. Japan and Shiban, same wavelength as me. Exactly what I've just said right now. It's literally depends on the hotel. If it's a Japanese chain, then it would be small. If it's basically if it's a Western style hotel like the Hilton or whatever, then it's probably going to be a big room. Tokyo hotel rooms are like New York hotels, very small because space is at a premium. I know, man. I've stayed in a New York hotel, and I can tell you that the Tokyo hotel rooms are even smaller. I use free pillows. Yeah. The bigger the city, the smaller the hotel rooms. True. We used to sleep on air mattresses too. Where did you sleep, dude? Like, speaking of which, would we be able to get a hotel guide for what to expect budget-wise for accommodation? I actually made a hotel guide on how I've made 2 hotel guides. One of them is basically how to find your perfect hotel. I think that's the only hotel guide. But I've tried to make a hotel guide that would be useful for anybody at any price point. So as long as you use the rules that I set you should be able to find a hotel that suits your needs in terms of budget. So maybe one of my mods can actually put that video in the link for you to check out if you haven't checked that one out already. Buckwheat pillows, that's true. I remember, don't like them. I didn't like them for the first. I mean, I've been traveling for nearly 10 years to Japan, but I'm not gonna lie. I think that it took me a good 3 years of traveling to Japan before my neck sort of like became used to those horrible Japanese pillows. Now I'm just used to them. They're no longer surprising. I use 3 pillows, 2 for my head and 1 for in between my legs. You are the same as me, nearly. I only use 1 pillow, Nico. I can't believe we're so close in this channel that we even share our sleeping habits with one another. On that note, if you are new and you're watching Ninja Monkey for the very first time, then, why not consider subscribing? I'm trying to create content on the weekly. I've been creating content on the weekly for over 2 years now, which is actually crazy. I've been live streaming pretty much every single week for the last nearly 2 years, I'd say, or a year and a half at least. Wednesdays and Sundays. Sometimes I have to cancel one or the other. I'll continue streaming on Wednesdays and Sundays for the next, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks. But then I'm going to say that probably 3 to 4 weeks before my trip to Japan, I'll probably drop it down to just a Sunday, as I will need to prep and get things ready for the trip. But on the positive note, it means that when I do get to Japan, I will be streaming quite often. So you won't be getting a Tuesday and a Sunday stream. You'll be getting a stream multiple times a week whilst I'm there. I probably won't be able to actually create like content, main video sort of content. So it will be stream based. But you never know. No princess on the PE. Backward pillows are not too comfortable when I tried. The hotel I stayed in Minato had a Lawson convenience store on the one of the basement floors. Yeah, that's quite common, you know. There's loads of hotels that have their own Lawsons or 7-Elevens. I gave my only pillow to my elderly mother, so I don't have any, but that's fine for me. Okay. Thank you for the hotel guide, by the way. I also use no pillows or a quilt for that matter. It's getting a little hotter to sleep with it on, so I'll have a thin blanket. Okay, at least you have something to cover yourself. A hotel guide that stars with X tells you the square feet of your room. That stars with X tells you the square feet of your room. I don't know what you mean by that. Kindred spirits, indeed. Us Japanaholics, we're all very similar, I think. Let's see. Hey, Jesse. Yeah, another one is a ground floor. It's referred to as the first floor in Japan. That one can be a little bit confusing also for us Europeans. You know, we usually have the ground floor being 0, the first floor being the first floor, but in Japan the first floor is the second floor. So yeah, that can be a little bit confusing. Hey, thank you very much, Armada Onion. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that my tips are being useful, helpful, and getting you well prepped for Japan. When are you going to Japan? Let me know. Solo trips are fun. This channel is really helpful. Thank you. I try to be helpful. I think it's not just me. I think in general, the chat, the people in the chat, and yeah, people just want to help everyone. That's what I love. The lack of a 4th floor is a good point. Yeah, that can be. That is very true. Yeah. Mid-September, cool. Cool. Yeah, I mentioned the deodorant. Guys, take your own deodorant, for goodness sake. Don't buy deodorant from Japan. Save everybody the whiffs of BO and just use deodorant that you know works for you, because Japanese deodorant isn't that great for us Westerners anyway. I mentioned tax-free shopping. Yeah, very useful. Clothes and shoe sizes are different. I meant JJI asked earlier on. It's very true. This one, I mean, this is probably one of the things that a lot of people ask me. A lot of people think that Japan is like full of robots. Like Tokyo is like the land of robots, and you know there are loads of videos online about like robot restaurants, robot cafeterias, robot hotels, but in reality, the reality is that those are very specific occasions where you will see robots in a city which is incredibly huge, like 30,000 people, 35 million people, whatever. In that city, there's only a very few hotels that are robot-only hotels. So it's like finding a needle in the haystack and highlighting it for the world to see, which I think is one of the things that happens with Japan. There's a lot of weird Japan and strange Japan, and the thing is that if you go looking for it, you'll find weird Japan, you'll find strange Japan, and you'll find robots in Japan. But if you go looking for strange Europe, you'll find strange Europe, and if you go looking for robots in Europe, you'll find robots in Europe. In fact, I have a robot vacuum cleaner in my house. But yeah, robots are, you do see them, but they're not like as common as people think they are. I don't know if you agree or if you disagree with me on that one. I have read that so much scent of deodorants and perfumes is also kind of rude. I tell you something, yeah, Lani. I think that people would rather smell your deodorant than your body odor. So basically what happens is that in Japan they have deodorants which don't necessarily have scents, but they just don't work on our pH, on Western pH. Our skin is different, the way that we sweat is different, the pH levels of the sweat is different, and their deodorants just don't really work properly on us. So that is it. That is the main issue. Yeah, I use roll-on Mitchum's. I use. Spray deodorant, unless if you put it in your checked-in luggage, you're fine. Restaurants with a touchscreen to order is future enough. Yes. Neck fan. Yeah, I have a neck fan also. Use stick over spray. I only saw a robot at Shinjuku Station. Dav is neutral deodorant, so no smell. There you go. What shocked me was when I was in Akihabara early in the morning was 4 rats the size of small puppies, so I avoided them and turned back. Yeah, rats in Shinjuku are a thing. I've seen them a few times. Actually, you see, that is another thing that I could have put. You're reminding me of things that I could have added to the video. I wanted to make it 100 things. I only came up with 79, which actually impressed me. But yeah. Public Wi-Fi isn't as available as people think it is. Definitely, I'd say. Things are improving though, I would say. I think this one might be the one that I end the stream with, but yeah, Japan in general, like Tokyo, is quite busy, but it's very quiet. And one of the things that I notice whenever I'm in a European city, like I've just been in London a few weeks ago, and even here in my hometown in Gibraltar, you hear sirens of ambulance and cop cars and police cars all the time in London, like all the time. In Tokyo, however, you just don't you don't really hear as many sirens. Things are generally quieter, unless you go to certain areas. I did mention this. There are areas where they're just bombarding like advertisements. Actually makes the city feel kind of futuristic when you hear so many advertisements. Rats are in each big city. Yeah, but actually Shinjuku is famous for rats. Shinjuku is well known for its rats. The rats of Shinjuku. There are some jokes about like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because the rat is a ninja. Ninja rat. Splinter. Yeah, here you can hear people blasting music until 4 a.m. It's a pretty quiet city, but those tracks with announcements are real loud. Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. Like we got to around 50 of them. I mean, there's loads of others, but I'm gonna have to call it a night because I do have to give this kitty, poor kitty who's sleeping next to me. You see her? I need to give her some medication shortly. Look at her. And she probably knows that it's coming. Hey. Hey. You're a star. So yeah, I'll be giving her some medication before it gets too late, because I've just noticed it's like nearly 11 o'clock at night. So I should have given her the medication like an hour ago. But yeah, I have to put some tablets down her throat, poor thing. One block off the main avenue and it's pretty much dead silence. True. Yeah, we have another 30 or so different other observations that I made. Please comment on the actual video, and can one of my moderators please put the link to my latest video, and if you could give it another view, even if you've watched it, I would really appreciate it. There's 35 of us watching right now, and that would give me another 35 views. Give it a thumbs up if you can, and leave a comment on there, even if it's a Japan flag emoji like I mentioned. A comment goes a long way. YouTube really likes engagement, so that basically means if you are engaging with the video by giving it a like, by commenting on the actual video, and especially if you're sharing it on other platforms, then that's a really big indicator, and YouTube will be going, hey, people are interested in this content, and will push it to other people. That's basically what happens in general. But on that note, it's been fun, it's been nice, and thank you everyone for hanging out on the Sunday. Thank you very much for those of you who have donated. Arigatou gozaimasu. Much appreciated. Will definitely help on the trip to Japan, coming in 6 weeks, guys. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, crazy. I'll be in Japan in 6 weeks time, or just about in Japan in 6 weeks time, and yeah, really looking forward to it. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit of a planning day. Going to be off YouTube, off social media, I think, mainly, and I'm literally just going to be I've got my itinerary, but I need to sort out the little bits basically. Let's see. Bye everyone. Good night, Caroline. You've been quiet, but I know you've been there. Maurice, have a good night. Thanks very much. Good night all. Good night, Lani and Frog Lady and Japan Nichiban, KN11F3D, Adachi and Mark and Dying Goal. Don't worry, dude. You chill, man. You've been working very hard. Dying Goal, just as we are finishing the stream. Arigatou gozaimasu. Now I feel like I need to update this. There you go. Thank you. Just updated it up there. Much appreciated, and have a good evening. And for those of you who have just been here, I really do appreciate the fact that you have spent your very precious time listening to this random person with a cat next to him talk about Japan and keeping me a little bit of company. On that note, thank you all. I came at the last minute. Akiko, I'm just about to say goodbye, but I let's finish off by pointing the camera at little Sunny here, who is about to have some medication, poor thing. On that note, see you all on Wednesday, hopefully. Take care, stay positive, and be a happy gaijin. Till next time.